But I don't know, to have a padiddle, to take a padiddle, that seems sensible to me. Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to words, specifically regional words that are regional to different regions. Throughout the year I've been going around the American map and trying to work out the meaning of different words from different regions. But after covering what I thought was the entirety of the contiguous United States, I realised that I did something that was totally and utterly a little bit stupid. I forgot to do the Midwest. You know, that region of the United States where I only bloody live. And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, Lawrence, you'll know all of these because you live there. Well, maybe, maybe not, because I've been looking into this and it turns out the Midwest extends beyond just Indiana and Chicago. And so just because I'm familiar with some Midwesternisms doesn't mean that I know them all. And so I suppose there's only one way to find out. Here's my attempt at guessing the meaning of these 15 Midwestern words. Oh good, a nice easy one to start us off with. I think we've all heard about the debate that ensues across the country between whether you say pop or soda or Coke if you're in the South. In much of the Midwest, but by no means all of it, so I'm told, we say pop, and pop is just a fizzy drink. Stop and go lights. I have to say that's a new one on me. It sounds like something a child would come up with to describe traffic lights. But I don't think I've ever heard Midwesterners describe traffic lights that way. Is it regional? I mean, maybe people say it in, Minnesota or somewhere that I've never been. It is. Apparently stop and go lights are synonymous with traffic lights. If you use this term and you live in the Midwest, let me know in the comments below. Hot dish. How can that not be anything other than a dish that's hot, including, hot dogs, Chicago style pizza, or ice cream? They have fried ice cream in the Midwest. No, hold on. A hot dish is specifically a casserole dish that contains starch, a meat, and a canned or frozen vegetable mixed with canned soup that must be served hot or warm. You can't serve it warm. That would be a warm dish. It originated in the upper Midwest, and that's typically where it's found. Go up north. I don't think I've specifically heard Midwesterners use this phrase, but I can picture it being used to describe Canada. To go to Canada. It wouldn't be literally to go north and just only end up in Wisconsin. You have to go the whole hog and maybe, ride a moose. And that's what it means, to go up north. It doesn't mean that. Apparently in Michigan, to go up north means to go camping or to stay in some sort of cabin or a mixture of the two. See, for somebody who lives in the Midwest, this is shocking. I have 1 out of 4 correct. Ufta, this is a word that I have seen written down before when researching Midwestern English. I think it's sort of used in the upper Midwest, maybe the upper peninsula, I think. Comes from Norwegian, as I recall, but I can't remember what it means. I think when I've seen it before, it had an exclamation mark / exclamation point after it, which suggests it's an exclamatory phrase to mean, oh my gosh, or I don't know, maybe it's an intensifier. I think it does mean whoa, or something like that, but it's been a long time, so let's look it up. It has its own Wikipedia page. It is an exclamation or an interjection used to express dismay. I'm not sure I fully conveyed that in my guess. Whoa is more surprise than dismay, isn't it? It is, though, of Norwegian origin, so I think I should get half a point for remembering that. No? Right, fine. Ufta. CRICK. I have heard this one before. It's not short for cricket, for obvious reasons. It doesn't mean a crick in your neck, because I think people just say that generally in the US. But I think it's another way of saying creek, as in, the type of stream, not to be confused with the secret stream that I have with my patrons every Friday. There you go. Some Midwesterners will pronounce creek as crick when talking about a brook or a small stream. Is that how they sometimes say iron to mean iron, or toilet to mean toilet, or wash instead of wash? And I'm not suggesting they do all 3 of those activities at once. Gym shoes. This isn't a term you hear very often, but it is a term that apparently pops up in Chicago and 1 or 2 other places in the Midwest. It just means what the rest of America calls either tennis shoes or sneakers, or what we in Britain call trainers. There you go, there's a handy little map showing that gym shoes is indeed found in Chicago and also Cincinnati. Snookered. I've heard this word before. So in Britain, we have the word snookered, which comes from the sport snooker, which just means you're trapped. There's no way out of this thing. I wonder if it's just a continuation of that. I know this term, I've never used it. I've never had it used about me, or at least not that I can remember. So I think snookered is that. There's no way out of this. You're trapped. You're snookered. No, snookered is apparently Midwestern slang to mean excessively drunk. It's no wonder I can't remember it. And given that approximately half of all British words also mean excessively drunk, I am a bit surprised by this difference. Jeez, are we sure this is specific to the Midwest? I feel like most Americans use this, don't they? Or maybe this shortening of presumably Jesus did originate in the Midwest and then just, spread its gospel. But I think that I've heard this many times. I think we might even say it in Britain at this point. But I think it can be used in several ways, right? It can be used to express surprise, geez, or mild dismay, as in, oh, geez. I've just remembered a similar one in Britain is gee whiz. Here we go. In the Midwest, geez is a polite way of expressing frustration. Bubbler, this one came up on a previous video suggesting that it is found in more than one region. As I said back then, it just means a water fountain that you drink out of, but I don't think it's used in most places in the Midwest. I think that terminology is very specifically found in Wisconsin. There we go. A bubbler is a word for what others call a water fountain. BREWSKI. I've definitely heard this term, but now I can't remember if it means like a brew of coffee or the type of brew that would leave you snookered. I've clearly never gotten drunk with Midwesterners. Either way, even though I've seen this word before, I don't think any Midwesterners have personally used it to me. I think a BREWSKI is another word for beer. Have a pint of BREWSKI. BREWSKI. You're likely to hear the word BREWSKI floating around a local Midwestern pub. It's just another way we say beer. Oh my, it's amazing what you just pick up through osmosis or through being snookered. I'm certain I've covered this word before. I just can't remember what it means off the top of my head. I mean, looking at it, it looks like the inevitable biological result of having too many brewskis. Never break the seal. But I don't know. To have a padiddle, to take a padiddle, that seems sensible to me. I think it means to just go to the bathroom. Padiddle is a Canadian and American slang term for a vehicle with a burnt-out headlight or brake light. Of course, you're driving along and you see this, you're supposed to say padiddle. How did I forget that? I think I've just been drunk the whole time that I've lived in the US, which is amazing for somebody that gave up alcohol a year and a half ago. Ah yes, tough tomatoes and or tomatoes. Or a variation on this saying that would get me demonetized, so I will refrain. Tough tomatoes isn't literally describing an impenetrable fruit. It's just another way of saying tough luck. As in, YouTube sensation Lawrence Brown only had one response to David Beckham's failed attempt at becoming America's finest British import. Tough tomatoes, tomatoes. Holletail. I never heard that in my life. I mean, holler is just another way of saying hello, isn't it? And tail, worryingly, could be a euphemism. I'm going to guess this isn't literal and is a type of tail. What do they have a lot of in the Midwest? There's a lot of cows. Maybe it's a cow tail. Why would you have a special word for that? Then again, padiddle is a thing, so I'm going to go with the guess that either a holletail is a cow's tail or a cow's ass. Thankfully, it is neither of those things. If somebody's in a bad mood or doesn't feel well, then he or she could be said to have the holletail. And finally, hair binder. I don't think I've ever heard that term before, but that could be because I don't use whatever this thing is. My hair just does what it wants now that I'm 40. It's like a hair tie or a hair grip. We'll go with hair tie. I think it's another word for hair tie. I should say though that I think hair tie is commonly used in the Midwest, isn't it? So I'm probably wrong. Let's take a look. A hair binder is indeed a hair tie. I would have no cause to use that since I haven't had hair long enough to use a hair tie since the Great Woodstock incident of 2006. And as far as I know, my wife says hair tie. So if you use this term, let me know in the comments below where in the Midwest you are situated. It's okay, I'm not going to come and track you down. I just need to know if this is a regional thing. That's it for this episode. Stay tuned in the coming days for my list of Midwestern culture shocks. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePod Pond US, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. A massive thank you to my patrons who I get to talk with about this kind of stuff on my Friday afternoon secret streams. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so today at patreon.com/lostinthepond. Until the next video, goodbye.